All right, guys, today we're going to talk about a common thing that happens that not a lot of people are aware of, why it happens to them, and that's when a person comes into Medicare for the first time and they're already on Medicaid but not Medicare, and their Medicare starts. Specifically Missouri Medicaid, but that's where we're working. There are two, I'm going to call them segments, or two different categories of Medicaid. So this first one, a couple of years ago, Missouri became what's called a Medicaid expansion state. And that means that you no longer had to, it means that people under the age of 65 only had to have low income, and that's it, to qualify for low cost or no cost health insurance through Medicaid, through the state of Missouri. So that's this group. AEG stands for Adult Expansion Group. I'm not going to write it out because it would be sloppy and nobody can read it. So that's the group that people are in before age 65 if they're not disabled. What happens at age 65? You become one of these letters. What this stands for is Missouri Health Net, aged, blind, and disabled, or disabled. So if you're Missouri Health Net, it's still Medicaid, but it's not this group, it's this group. So when you turn 65, apologies to anyone who's turning 65, you're now considered aged in the eyes of Missouri. If you're blind or if you're disabled, you officially start collecting disability. That can be for people under 65. But if you're in one of those three categories, you have this kind of Medicaid. The thing is, it doesn't happen automatically. So what happens a lot of times, sometimes it does, but a lot of times it doesn't happen automatically. So a person coming into Medicare and they already have state Medicaid are in this AEG group, Adult Expansion Group. But when they become aged, they turn 65, they're coming into Medicare, or now it's gonna happen automatically if it's a disability that are getting Medicare before 65 for that reason. But if they become aged, they become 65, this transition doesn't happen automatically. We have to help our clients through that. So I've got some handouts here. I'm going to show you exactly how we do that in a minute. But here's the big difference. And here's why some people lose Medicaid when they turn 65. Because AEG, Adult Expansion Group, only looks at one thing. Low income. That's it. So you can have, you can have assets, you can have investments, multiple vehicles, maybe a property or something like that. When you get over to here, when you go through this transition, they're going to look at income plus assets. So there are certain things that are disregarded as assets, but mainly they're looking for anything that can be a liquid resource that can be converted into cash. That includes additional properties. It does not count your primary residence and property. It doesn't count one vehicle. But you get into somebody that's got, maybe they got 4 or 5 vehicles, maybe they got a rental property, maybe they got a condo in Florida, or if they have a lot of money sitting in a bank account, and there's a threshold for that, which changes every year, but generally they don't want to see that you have a lot of money sitting in the bank for months on end. So those things, and also cash value life insurance. So if someone has a life insurance policy and they have a few $1,000s in cash value, that is equivalent to money sitting in the bank for them. So that's the reason why sometimes when we're just looking at income, and now we got to look at assets, if those people have low income but they also have assets, they may get kicked out of Medicaid. And they may not. It just depends on, it's a person-to-person situation. So we have a 4-page addendum that we use. It's very simple. It just actually doesn't even require a signature, but we help them fill it out or hand it to them, and then they're going to take it down to the Medicaid office. It doesn't take them very long to do that, but they're going to look at their assets. They're going to look at bank accounts. They're going to look at anything that might be, and the loose rule of thumb is anything that can be converted into money within about a 20-day period, roughly ish. So that could be even an investment. You got some money at Edward Jones or whatever. Probably can't say that on the video, but I just did. But you got some investments or CDs that you can cash in. They're going to look at that just like it's money sitting in the bank. So we have to help them through that process and understand the difference why. So that's why that happens.